Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Today, excuse me, we finally get back to belching and, well, Riku's side of the story. So, let's load up a little command deck, filled with cards, commands, I command ye, and finally start making our way into the grid. Riku's side of the story. Oh yeah. Ready, set, dive! Yeah! Finally the cheesy music is back. I have a good feeling about this one. That is to say that I hope I'll at least stand a slightly better chance of being conspicuous and having things to talk about that don't drift on into irrelevant tangents. We'll say though, despite the fact that Riku has more to dodge in this stage, I don't know, quite a nice, a little bit of variety as he enters the hellish-looking matrix. Ooh. Makes me shudder. All those data pathways and streams. Is this what is going on inside our modern televisions? When we stream things via the webinet? Oh, what we wouldn't give for ultra-high frequency bands from the days of old, causing magnetic interference. How life has changed, and will continue to change. As it has always done. We've entered it! We entered the Matrix! Woohoo!
My clothes. Is this world special? A Dream Eater! No. Let's see how this plays out.
Another stray.
Are you a prisoner?
Yeah, it looks that way.
Name's Sam.
I'm Riku. Where are we, Sam?
We're on the grid.
You're in luck. Only a precious few are granted Lightcycle battle privileges.
You gonna explain why it's so lucky?
I'll show you.
How hard can it be?
Oh man, one thing I forgot about how good this goddamn soundtrack is the whole Lightcycle theme. I've really got to re-listen to Dream Drop Distance's soundtrack one of these days. It is fucking killer. I mean, if there is anything I can say about Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which is the rhythm game for Kingdom Hearts, goddamn, it really reminded me of how great this fucking soundtrack is, and, yeah. Great stuff. Anyway, Lightcycle works a little bit differently to how it did in Kingdom Hearts 2, albeit running on similar principles. The first of which being is that you have either an assault charge, via your laser beams, or you switch between high-speed action. When enemies are in front of you, start blasting. If they're behind you, well, just speed up and use your light trail to pretty much, disrupt their code and destroy these programs. But in the meantime, however, yeah, don't really get too worked up in a tiff, and just sort of, bounce around and, dance to the music. Da-na, Da-na. Yeah, I mean, you also have a jump capability, that kind of thing, so, yeah, I will say that the light cycle stuff is actually a little bit more dynamic here compared to what it was in, you know, Kingdom Hearts 2. I can't actually tell if you can go back and replay some of these, or if there might be some challenges, or... I guess, I mean, if you... I really don't remember, but I mean, thank Nominate, first of all. Second of all, if there wasn't any light cycle challenges, I could have easily seen, you know, the developers getting their, you know, their bang for their buck out of the concept, because they actually wouldn't have minded having a few more courses here. I mean, again, I said that I wasn't really too big of a fan of rumble racing in Birth by Sleep, but... Again, the way in which the light cycle controls here is pretty solid. You have enough, you know, dynamics and mechanics to make it interesting. I mean, honestly, just to, you know, vary up the track design a little bit, and to be perfectly honest, I think you'd have a winner in terms of game mechanics. Or at least, you know, something you can continue to play, maybe at the Coliseum in Traverse Town, where, you know, you could play Flick Rush, or you could do more light cycle stuff. I don't know, it'd just give you, maybe a little bit something more to do, really. I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a big fan of the, you know, the cyberized look of everything. Maybe I just like the gameplay itself. Maybe it's Maybelline. I just really happen to enjoy how this style of play is handled in this game. And, you know, the music also helps a great deal. Yeah. By the way, is there meant to be a crowd watching us, or no? Well, now we have our boss of the game. Well, game of the now, I suppose. Commantus. Oh my god, if you thought Mantises was scary before, well, now you got it in stereo cyberized, baby. So yeah, it's pretty much a prelude boss fight to what we're going to be facing off later on in the flesh, by which I mean off-bike, really. Yeah. And I mean, again, I will say it does make great use out of, you know, Lightcycle's abilities even for, you know, a taste to whet our appetite of the Mantis yet to come. So again, Lightcycle gets a pass from me. It's a great little mechanic, and sadly, you must abandon it shortly. The great music that I want to dance to, as it starts playing Donkey Kong Jungle Beat all over Riku's tender skull, his grey matter splattered across the field. Oh, it's dirty. Computers don't like getting dirt. Namely because dust is actually really harmful to electronics, so yeah. Kind of important that if you have any electronics that you value, clean them out every now and again. Be careful with them, mind you, and just, you know, do it carefully, but yeah. Treat your electronics well, and decay and entropy will be staved off for quite some time. I mean, until the parts eventually burn out or, you know, become out of use. But in the meantime, enjoy it, and start partying and dancing hardcore!
I think I've had enough entertainment for one day.
Riku! You made it. You escaped from the games.
Yeah.
I know a way off the grid. Wanna come with?
No. You go ahead. Wait, what's the way out?
Through the portal.
Portal?
Yeah. It's like a gate that opened when I came here. Once I'm back in the real world, I can delete Clue. And then my dad will be able to come home.
Your dad?
He vanished 20 years ago when he came here to the grid. But because he needed to protect his disc from Clue, he went into hiding. He's been trapped there ever since. But I'm gonna change that.
I see. Sam, you mind if I go with you after all? To the portal?
Sure. I'll take what help I can get. But first there's somebody I need to meet. He's in the city.
I tried to get back, but I couldn't get to the portal. It uses massive power and it can't stay open forever. And like a safe, it can only be opened from the outside. It closed on me, Sam. That's why I never came home.
So the portal, it activated when I came in. So it's open now.
Not for long. Only 1 millicycle. About 8 hours.
So we go now. We go home. We make a run for it. We get you out of
Sam,
here.
Don't rush.
What do you mean, don't rush? The portal's gonna close.
My disc is everything, Sam. It's the master key. The golden ticket. The way out. And not just for me.
What do you mean?
Our worlds are more connected than anyone knows. Clue figures if I can be in,
He can be out?
with my disc, it's possible.
And then what?
Game over. The guy doesn't dig imperfection. What's more imperfect than our world? I can't let that happen. I won't.
So what do we do? Nothing?
It's amazing how productive doing nothing can be. Clue is planning something. We've known that for a while. It's his game now. The only way to win is not to play.
Yeah, well, that's a hell of a way to live.
But it is a way. Sometimes life has a way of moving you past things like wants and hopes.
That's great, Dad. Keep telling yourself that.
Good night, Sam.
One thing I will actually say in terms of, you know, the characterization of Flynn, we didn't see him in the previous Tron world because that was technically taking place in, you know, Radiant Garden, but, yeah, Flynn's character was actually quite cool. I think it's really just sort of in the way he carries himself, though. Like, again, I didn't get Jeff Bridges... Wait, is it Jeff... Yeah. I didn't get Jeff Bridges back to voice him or anything. I don't think so, anyway. The impersonator actually does a pretty good job with it, surprisingly, but... Yeah, the way in which Flynn carries himself, like, he has, like, the same sort of sagely wisdom you typically see from your, you know, wise mentor character, Obi-Wan Kenobi sort of figure, but at the same time, though, he also has, like, this very doodly way of speaking where... I don't know, it strikes the right balance between, like, you know, being wise and learned, but at the same time also sort of relatable. At least in terms of how, you know, average people speak and communicate. It's kind of like what I was talking about beforehand with, the whole Jedi speak thing that I was talking about in, Le Cité des Cloches or whatever. You know, the whole, one of the big problems with Kingdom Hearts that a lot of people tend to have is, you know, when they go flowering and abstract, you know, darkness sprouts within it, grows, consumes it, everything returns to darkness from whence it came. That sort of dialogue that people tend to have a bit of a problem with. And that's something that Flynn seems to sort of avert by having a bit more of a... I guess it's really just sort of in the sort of language that he chooses, you know, having phrases like, you know, bingo, now you're up to speed, get with it, dude, that kind of thing, that sort of gives him like a doodly Jedi kind of motif. I don't know. I mean, it's probably not appropriate for every character to talk like that, but I think it does sort of make some of the, you know, wise, wizardly mentor characters seem a little bit more palatable to some extent. And I mean, again, I suppose it really does depend on, like, what sort of sci-fi or fantasy kind of world that you're going for, but... I don't know. I guess there is a time and a place for, you know, very relatable sounding wise wisdom dudes. Other times, you know, it does also run the risk of coming across as very disingenuous and, like, you sort of don't believe in your own fantasy world, which, you know, can be a bit of a problem, especially if you're either playing it for comedy or, well, in other sorts of terms, like setting something in a specific universe and then completely not adhering to those sorts of rules, so, you know, tonal whiplash. In any case, however, yeah, Riku's going to be seeing a few new vistas as he, you know, makes his way to stop the evil Clue once and for all. Clue, is Riku gonna get one? Will Sora get one as he enters transport? Well, that we'll just have to find out, but oh, more violence. Shucky dawns. But yeah, in any case, I suppose it's more important to talk about the other half of our party that we haven't really been acknowledging. Tham, our handsome young man protagonist. Sure to get all the ladies because he looks so handsome. But sadly, there is only one male specimen on Riku's mind. Sora. That cute, lovable dude. That wins his heart. But yeah, to talk about Sam's character, the fact that, you know, he has fatherly issues. Daddy Flynn, why did you not come home? Daddy Flynn, I miss you. That kind of thing. I don't think it quite translates as well as what it otherwise would have, I suppose, if I watched the film. I mean, I think the actor does decently well to sort of sell, like, that level of abandonment and the fact that, you know, he had an opportunity to come home, but, you know, obviously Flynn sees the bigger picture and, you know, how much is at stake if he lets Clue take complete control of the grid, but I don't know, it's, yeah, I kind of get the impression that maybe the movie fills in a little bit more of the emotional arc and gaps than, you know, what this game otherwise provides us. I will say that this does actually do one of the things that I was talking about beforehand, where, you know, the Kingdom Hearts characters interacting with the film characters as the story goes along, which, you know, Riku compared to Sora gets to sort of interact with a little bit better than, you know, what we saw with Sora beforehand, where, you know, he mainly spent most of his time with Korra, whereas, you know, Flynn and Sam pretty much went by the wayside. So yeah, we get to see a bit more of the film's universe as Riku, you know, helps out and basically does his best to sort of solve the dream world's problems, because, you know, while Sora seems to be twixt between the real and the dream, Riku, on the other hand, seems to be following a little bit more closely to the test. But one thing I will say, actually, as you go into this cutscene, pay attention to Riku's back.
Kill some time till I get back.
Glad I get to fight more than boredom.
Dream Eaters, as evidenced by that little symbol that marks their ilk. Where have I seen that symbol before? Must have been somewhere back then. But in the meantime, though, we basically just have a bit of a random violence fight the Dream Eaters Shugami do, until, you know, we can finally have Sam meet up with Flynn and, you know, he gets his Jedi Master robes on, you know, looking all snazzy and stylish. Looks quite comfortable, actually. I like a pair of those robes myself. But yeah, in the meantime, though, it's time for some computer hacking prize box. It's pretty much the same as Prize Shot, except, you know, now we get more stuff. Delicious, delicious money. But yeah, you might also be noticing we also have, not just Shadow Dash, but in turn also... fuck, I'm trying to remember what the ability was called. I think it was called, like, Shadow Rush or something. Where basically you get, like, you know, one slash of light and one of darkness. And, yeah, looks kinda cool. So, yeah. Once again, making great use out of Drain Dive, Balloon Rush still putting in the work. And, hopefully I can finally show off that move again. There we go. Gravity Strike. And that's the end of that chapter. Violence out of the way, and it's time for more story. So, cutscene go now.
What? Sam!
Who's this?
I'm Riku. Sam and I were on our way to the portal.
Come with us.
Where are we headed?
The portal. But we need a solar sailor. There's one in the underground docks.
Your disc. Dad. It's gone.
It is. She's stable.
We have to go back. Clue will use it to reach the outside world. I can stop him from destroying it if you just let me do this!
You've done enough already!
So what do we do now?
I don't know. Nothing. We do nothing. Be still. Wait. We can hop a solar sailor. A full-on sprint to the portal. We can beat Clue there. Let's get her out of here.
Sheesh, so many family dramas. What is this, an episode of Neighbours? Hello, hello, is this thing on? Yes, thank you. Try the veal. Always tip your waitresses. Etc, etc. I'm trying to wonder, actually, was there like a movie cutscene that would have explained what was going on there? But, I guess maybe in the effort to save Korra, because I mean, bear in mind, like, I mean, Sora and Riku are undertaking two very different dream realms, so, yeah, the events that happen in one world don't correspond to the other, but, again, as Xemnas and, you know, Mr. Mysterious Unknown, and yeah, that is technically his name, because one of the secret bosses that I didn't technically show off in Birth by Sleep is actually, well, that young man that you've been seeing pop up all throughout the worlds. There to pretty much taunt Sora, and yeah, they seem to have an unusual interest in him. Well, I mean, rightfully so, since they, you know, they've seen him screw up their plans time and time again, once in the past, once in the future, and a little in the present for good luck. So yeah. I don't know. I kind of forgot where I was going with that point, so, in the meantime, though, we do actually get to see one of the final commands of the, you know, code break, which is unlocking doors. Weird, you would have thought the Keyblade would have been fine enough to use for that, but whatever, I suppose. In any case, though, new areas to unlock, and, I guess we're seeing some more of the interior of the tower that Sora was otherwise, running about as he was, you know, bopping about everywhere. By the way, switch target, you get the tournament? No, you get the gun turret to start shooting your enemies. And now that all the turrets are gone... turrets? No, that all the enemies are gone, now we have to unlock it. Stop shooting at me! Running executable. Switching all engines to warp drive. Warp 7, Mr. Sulu. Aye aye, Captain. Oh. Pachoo, pachoo, I shoot my laser beam at you! Which is a phrase I heard the media nerds say, because I've been a terrible influence on him. A terrible, terrible influence. Well, I suppose I might as well bring up some of the other trivia that I had beforehand in the sense that, yeah, you can kind of tell how this was initially meant to be Riku only with Sora tackling space paranoids, because Riku's dealing a bit more directly with the story, whereas Sora was more or less sort of gangling about trying to get Tron to, you know, snap back to his senses. So again, it does make me wonder if maybe they were going to take the whole, you know, Sora going in one pathway, Riku going another, that mayhaps there could have been, you know, different story elements depending on what worlds we would have tackled, or, you know, if they maybe would have had completely different worlds to suit the story as well, but, It's quite curious. I guess potentially they probably would have wanted maybe, like, one world to, you know, they would have wanted some of the worlds for Kingdom Hearts 3 perhaps, or, who knows really, because, you know, like, I mean, it was shortly after the completion of Dream Drop Distance and, you know, the whole falling out between Final Fantasy 15 and Versus 13 that led to Nomura directly focusing on, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3. Both as a result of, you know, Square Enix itself, along with the fanbase finally getting tired of Kingdom Hearts 3 being put off and, you know, then actually getting a move on by having Kingdom Hearts 3 be the next one in development. Because, I mean, bear in mind at this point, like, Birth by Sleep Volume 2 was teased, but, yeah, they... both Square Enix and fans wanted Kingdom Hearts 3, and thus, Square Enix made Nomura delivereth onto us more Kingdom Hearts 3 goodness. Oh, well, I mean, I suppose it's not like it's really stopped him from delivering more of the story through other means, it's just not through handhelds now. Instead it's through, browser games and phone games. See the case of Union Cross, Dark Road, and, well, I mean, as of right now, Missing Link, for whenever that's released, which I think is meant to be towards the end of this year. I'm gonna hazard a guess that it might be 2025 at this stage, because we haven't really seen much apart from, you know, one or two cutscenes that are in Japanese, but, yeah, quite curious. Can't even really talk about that much about a Missing Link, at least in terms of a story context, because, well, one, we don't really know anything, and two, it's also got a lot of plot threads that are more relevant towards, well, basically the next story arc as opposed to what we're dealing with now. The Dark Seeker Saga, which deals with everything Xehanort.
Yes, boy, I forced my way into a storyline that didn't involve me to begin with, and now it's all about me. Ah, just the way that I like it.
take this, whatcha? By the way, we also have Gex in our party. That is to say, the heavy rep lizard that just sort of rolls around at the speed of sound. But yeah, all that aside though, I'm not really too sure if I get to show off some of its abilities or not. I think I might in the next part, but yeah, in the meantime, as you might notice, I did color Gex green, you know, just so we can have a little lizard, you know, blood relative of the Torpedane. And this is part of the reason why Sora could ascend that little lift area beforehand, except he couldn't go quite far enough, because that would have detoured into a Riku area that you could technically you could technically break the window of. Which does also make me wonder, like, I mean, could you technically get there with Sora and use your, you know, reality shift command on the wall from the other side and blow up the turret so you can get through? I don't know, I never really attempted to sequence break or try and get to a lot of other areas, because, I mean, I guess accounting for flow motion that the developers were a little bit more stringent on where to place, you know, their invisible walls and, you know, block off specific areas that Sora and Riku could otherwise get to, so, I'm not really too sure if there's any, like, you know, flags or boundaries that might accidentally trigger if, say, like, you manage to flow motion, you know, under a bit of poorly coded invisible walls so that you can get Sora into Riku's section or Riku into Sora's sections. I don't know, it might actually be worth exploring with, one of those... I'm trying to remember what the program was, but it was basically like a level editor that lets you see a lot of, the boundaries in a lot of games. I believe they have a few other, for a couple of other games, actually. Kingdom Hearts 2, I think, was one of them. I think another one was also Sonic Colors, which also let you explore some of the environments of that game, but it's neither here nor there in this case. So on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and Solar Sailor away!